Hey YouTube, it's Jim and I here with another review, and I'll be reviewing FMW Yokohama Deathmatch, Cactus Jack's back, hardcore wrestling made in Japan. There's Terry Funk, Cactus Jack, Shark, and Mujimi. I don't even know these people's names because this is the first FMW I've ever watched. Cactus Jack, Terry Funk, Fuyuki, I guess, Mujimi Kudo, her final match, Hayabusa versus Mr. Genosuke. I don't know, pain is guaranteed, Survive was not the most insane triple main event ever. Cactus Jack's back, the brutality continues. Cactus Jack with Terry Funk and Mike Gladiator Awesome take on Tanaka. That's Masato Tanaka from ECW and the FMW. This is one of a kind, brutal barbed wire match. Is a follow-up to Cactus Jack's defeat of Kane Mura, featured in the top 10 hit FMW King of the Deathmatch. Hayabusa versus Mr. Genosuke. Hayabusa wins but loses it all. Mr. Genosuke humiliates Hayabusa by peeling off his sacred mask post-match. Why would they give that away on the back? And one thing, this is a VHS from 1997 and re-released on a DVD. But yeah, I'll talk about it more after I'm done reading. Kudo's final match. In her final match, it's 5 miles of razor barbed wire, 160 hair trigger explosives, and arch nemesis Shark to Sushiya between superstar Mujimi Kudo and quiet retirement. The rest just got better. Bonus match, Takuma Jinoko versus Ricky Fuji. Post-match look at superstar Mujimi Kudo. She was crying and holding up the belts, I guess. Scene selection, jump to your favorite match. And the Fujimi Kaido, or the Takuma Jinoko, that was the only bad part about this, pretty much, is it wasn't bad, it was fun to watch, but this was the only match I think that was in Japanese. But the other matches had people talking in English. Check out all the cool stuff not available on the VHS version. Wrestling 101 with the Sexy Snake Sisters. School is in session. There was some weird white dude saying he loved his job, and he's pretty much, this girl was sitting on this top rope and she jumped and he grabbed her and started squeezing her and said, "This is a bear hug." It was weird. Interactive photo gallery, trailers of upcoming Tokyo Pop releases. I like the interactive photo gallery because you could use your remote and click on the superstars or whatever wrestlers, I don't know what they call them here in FMW, but it told about it was just cool, and it told how much they weighed and how tall they were, some stuff like that. It was cool. Deathmatch action from the league that defines hardcore. Expert announcers call your FMW matches. Renowned wrestling journalist Dan the Mouth Lovransky, liveaudiowrestling.com, and Straight Up John Watanabe provide extensive FMW background insight and analysis never before available to hardcore fans of the FMW. Let's open this up. We got Terry Funk on the cover. I think that's a ladder on his. I don't even remember if he had a ladder. But run time for this was about 90 minutes. 97 minutes. That's what it said on the back. And on the back there, those are the VHSs, the Legend on, King of the Deathmatch, Crash and Burn, Total Carnage, Torn to Shreds, Ring of Torture, The Flying Assassins, and Yokohama Deathmatch. There's the Cactus Jack's back. I was surprised this came with an insert. I guess it tells a little bit about the matches and stuff. Formed in Japan in 1989, the FMW Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling originated hardcore wrestling and put all the other leagues to shame, combining sheer skill, strength, barbed wire, fire, and outrageous stunts. The FMW series appeals to both the casual and hardcore fan. You're about to witness some of the most insane, acrobatic, and physically impressive matches ever to hit home video. Just take a look at what these experts have to say. And they're Dan the Mouth Lovransky. I had a great time working with Tokyo Pop on the latest FMW releases that you now hold in your sweaty, excited hands. What the heck? I haven't read this stuff before. You should be excited because this is some of the best FMW wrestling I've ever seen. You haven't lived until you see the intensely dramatic main event of the Yokohama Deathmatch. The retirement of superstar Mujimi Kaido, or Kudo, I don't know. In her final match against her greatest rival, Shark Sushiya. FMW The Flying Assassin is the best of Hayabusa and speaks for itself with lots of great hot flying action mixed with the solid mat wrestling. I really appreciate that Tokyo Pop was willing to take a chance on a new approach to commentary by having myself and Mr. Straight Up John Watanabe call the action the way it was meant to be, highly enthusiastic and spots with info. Those of you who bought the previous FMW titles are in for a big surprise. Bad jokes are gone and Mr. Watanabe is now able to reveal his true talent as a commentator. That's enough blabbing from the mouth, so pop that DVD and enjoy the latest wrestling action from Tokyo Pop and the FMW. And then Straight Up John Watanabe, Urban Wrestling Alliance. Yo, wrestling fans, along announcing for the Urban Wrestling Alliance TV and my radio broadcasting credentials. I'm truly thankful that I'm announcing for the new improved presentation of FMW wrestling from Tokyo Pop that I'm now allowed to call this hardcore FMW hardcore action straight up without being held back in a way. Since Dan the Mouth Lovransky and I are lifelong wrestling fans and going back to the days of the original Sheik and Dick the Bruiser, it's refreshing that we're now really able to utilize our collective wrestling knowledge and radio broadcasting experience for newer fans and longtime hardcore fans. Unlike the recently folded version of WCW, I'm glad we actually listened to the wrestling fans' feedback and that we improved this FMW product in every aspect. Stay straight up and true to yourself and enjoy the FMW hardcore action. And now, the most insane triple main event ever. You won't believe the extensive background insight and analysis headed your way in this all-new FMW battle. Yokohama Deathmatch is not non-stop action, as only you, the hardcore fan, can appreciate. This is hardcore wrestling made in Japan, along with some amazing undercard matches. The Yokohama Deathmatch took place on April 29th, 1997 and featured the retirement match for the legendary Mujimi Kudo and the beauty queen of the deathmatch against her nemesis, Shark Sushiya. Then Hayabusa versus Mr. Genosuke. Having met in 1987, the legendary Hayabusa and Mr. Genosuke have been training together in 1991 and became best friends. When Mr. Genosuke left FMW, began disrespecting the fans. The wrestlers' friendship turned to bitterness and betrayal after being rejected to readmission into FMW. Mr. Genosuke battled his former friend Hayabusa to prove all the FMW is worthless. He wants to humiliate Hayabusa and destroy his persona in front of everyone. Labeled a traitor for abandoning his best friend in the FMW, Mr. Genosuke fights Hayabusa as a member of FMW. You won't believe your eyes as this emotional revenge match unfolds. Some of the most powerful wrestling you've ever seen. And the first part, it only showed the 3 main events in full. And the undercard, it showed highlights for some reason. And it was weird, but it was still fun to watch. They had Hakushi from the WWF, the dude with like tattoos all over his body. And no one else I can really think of that I know from that. And then the Hayabusa versus Mr. Genosuke. Oh yeah, they had like a 5-on-5 divas or women's match. And like a 4-on-4 match. I think this DVD is really bad put together. But and then at the end of the matches, it shows replays of it, like highlights of the match for some reason. And Cactus Jack and FMW Funk Masters of Wrestling, like Terry Funk, I don't know, versus FMW, so it's like FMW versus FMW. With moves like the Awesome Bomb and Stuff Pile Drivers, Cactus Jack and the Funk Master pound Tanaka and the FMW in the 6-man Texas Tornado match, while Tanaka and Kanemaru are fighting with each other over leadership of FMW. They are put aside their differences to team up and keep the Funk Masters of Wrestling from taking over the real FMW. This brutal barbed wire bat match follows up Cactus' defeat of Kanemaru and FMW King of Deathmatch, and nobody is safe from pain. And this was in like April 1997, and the announcer said that Cactus Jack came to do this and played a like he was suspended or something. But yeah, really fun to watch. They had like a branding iron on fire in this match. It was crazy. I'm not really gonna rate the matches, cause I'll just rate it as a whole after I'm done with this last part. But Jimmy Kudo versus Shark I don't even know how to say these names. To Sushiya. Kudo began wrestling in 1986 in All Japan Women Wrestling League. In 1991, she joined the FMW and quickly rose to the top, becoming the most popular female wrestler in Japan. Kudo's rivalry with Sushiya, always heated, reached its peak when Sushiya took the women's world title and the independent world women's title away from her. Vowing revenge in her final match, Kudo and Sushiya fight in a ring surrounded by barbed wire charged with 200 volts of electricity and 160 explosives in one of the most bloody and dramatic matches ever. And it wasn't really that bloody, but I've never seen blood that much from a women's match. And this DVD was not put well together because it showed highlights of a match that you just watched, and it had highlights of the undercard. So this only had like 3 full matches, and it was like over an hour and a half long. And it was fun to watch, but the announcers were pretty much telling secrets of wrestling and calling people heel team, babyface team, instead of like good guys and bad guys, and they were talking about storylines, and they were just just pretty much trashing it. Not really trashing it, but the commentators. I wish I would have watched it. I would rather watch this and with them talking in Japanese than those announcers, because they were not very good, and I didn't really like the announcers. But besides the announcing, it was fun to watch. But unless you're a fan of hardcore wrestling, I probably wouldn't get this, because it's pretty bad setup. And the match, there's only 3 full matches. The rest is just highlights of stuff. But I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10 just because of all the bad things. But yeah, it was fun to watch, but it's very badly set up and the announcers are just horrible. And that's my review for FMW Yokohama Deathmatch, and I still have quite a few to review, and that's about it. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, bye.